Hey folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending August the 17th, 2022. Words matter. Not too long ago, we were representing a buyer client. We're walking through a house. My client liked it. We decided to put an offer. But we did notice some shoddy electrical work in this house. So when we put our offer together, I put in a clause that basically stated that at the seller's expense, the seller was going to provide us, or provide my client, the buyer, with an electrical safety certificate. We send in our offer, we negotiate back and forth, but the discussion was always about, from the other side, the seller side, was always about price. Eventually, we agreed on a price and our offer got accepted. Great. Just before closing, I get emailed a receipt from the listing agent. And the receipt was a little over $200. I called her and I said, "What's this?" And she says, "Well, we repaired some of the electrical issues that were there. There's the receipt." I said, "Okay, great. Where's the electrical safety certificate?" And she said, "What's that?" She had no idea what the electrical safety certificate was. Now, we're not electricians, we're not plumbers, we're not engineers. We don't need to know everything. But we need to know enough that if we don't know what those words mean, before anybody signs anything, we need to find out and be clear on what those words mean. I put that clause in there to protect my client, the buyer. She, I would assume, had explained, or I can tell, in hindsight after knowing that she didn't know what that was, she didn't really explain that to her clients, the sellers. And so eventually, once they understood what the electrical safety certificate was, and they have no choice but to go through with this because they signed an agreement, the seller ended up, between the inspection, the repairs, and everything necessary to produce this electrical safety certificate, cost the seller close to $10,000. All because those clauses weren't read, or more importantly, the clauses weren't understood. And the focus of their negotiation was mostly on price. There's way more to the offer than just price and closing date. All those clauses matter. Many times when we're representing the sellers, we'll change one or two words to protect our seller clients. And if there's something we don't understand, nobody's signing anything. We want to be very clear on what that clause means. It's so important because words matter. We have a client right now who's a lawyer. We're helping him purchase a home. And it's so much fun because we look at every single clause together and figure out what's the future implication of this and how can we change it so we're very clear on what we're trying to say or what the other party is trying to say. So words matter. And if you don't be real careful and real meticulous about reading every clause, and look beyond just price and closing date, you read every clause and understand what you're signing. Because if you don't, you're going to learn the hard way and it could cost you thousands. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way, I'll know ahead of time and I'll make sure my schedule's organized so we could speak about whatever's on your mind. If you're looking for a starter condo within walking distance to the Fairview Mall by Don Mills and Shepherd, check out the video after my report. Working with buyers and sellers, talking about the numbers is one thing, but we also experience real estate every single day. And I can tell you there's all sorts of things from the ground level that sometimes are not translated in the numbers. August, for example, is typically, and I'm doing the air quotes here, is typically a slower month. But there's so many other factors that have been causing a slowdown over months now. You know, we got the interest rates, we got buyer affordability is much slower now than before. We've got buyer fatigue, we've got all sorts of things happening. And it seems that the seasons and months and what's typical is not typical anymore. So there's all sorts of things affecting activity and prices. We can tell you that we've seen right now from ground level, working with sellers, we've seen an uptick in showings in our listings. We've seen an uptick in offers. Let me share the numbers. Let's see how that has translated to the actual numbers. Here we have the City of Toronto activity broken down by week for a year. Now for week ending August the 17th, 94 detached properties were sold across the City of Toronto, which it has come down, quite a bit actually from the previous week where we sold 115. So 94 detached properties were sold, 12 were at $2 million or more. The previous few weeks before that, looks like 4 or 5 weeks before that, we were selling 20, 21, 22 properties a week at $2 million or more. This week, only 12 were sold. Average sold price has come way down. It's now sitting at $1,443,000. Now I should say, let's not make any decisions based on what's happening in 1 week. I'm doing these reports more to show you the trend. So when we kind of stand back, we can see average sold prices have been coming down over a period of time. We can see sales volume has been coming down over a period of time. That's really more what I want you to get out of these charts, and not to make any decisions based on one specific week. $1,443,000 as an average sold price happens to be 21% lower than last year's average sold price. That's a big number, 21%. So just, looking at this, we could see this year, average sold price came down quite a bit. Compared to last year, 1 week to the next, average sold price jumped way up. So there's a big, huge gap there. Well, average sold price is 21% lower than last year's average sold price. Median price of $1,250,000 is 13% lower than last year's median price. Here's a 3-month chart here. Median price at the middle of May was $1,550,000. It's now $1,250,000. Looking at sales, of the 94 that did sell, 26% sold at list price or more. So about a quarter you're competing with or paying the list price. Year-to-date sales, we have 28% fewer sales this year than what we had a year ago. And year-to-date is January 1st to August 17th. And listings, year-to-date listings, 8% fewer listings this year versus last year. 213 detached properties were listed throughout the week for week ending August 17th, and active listings, so right at the end of August 17th, what I mean by active listings are the amount of properties, detached properties only, actually available for sale. That number is 1,346. Months of inventory has come up. It's now sitting at 3.3 months of inventory, just getting very close to what we would call a balanced market. Balanced market is 4 to 6 months of inventory. Well, we're sitting at 3.3 months of inventory, and 20 being the average days on market. Let's break Toronto down, because that was for all of Toronto. And if we break Toronto down into West, Central, and East, well, we can see average sold price for each of those 3 areas has come down over the course of the week. So for West Toronto, 24 detached properties were sold, One of those, only one was sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,443,000. $1,443,000 is 3% higher than last year's average sold price. Median is 1% lower than last year's median price. This is just for West Toronto. Median price is $1,284,000. Months of inventory has shot way up. It's now sitting at 4.5 months of inventory, and 21 is the average days on market. Looking at Central Toronto, 21 detached properties were sold, about half. 10 of those were sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $2,105,000. $2,105,000 is 25% lower than last year's average sold price. Median price of $1,688,000 is 20% lower than last year's median price. So right away between West Toronto and Central, huge difference in year-over-year numbers. Months of inventory for Central Toronto is now sitting at 5.8 months of inventory. So if we forget the weekly number and we just look at the trend, if we see months of inventory, we can see it's been trending up. And just in a span of 3 months, it is almost tripled. We go from 2 months of inventory to 5.8. So 6 months of inventory would be triple. We're at 5.8 months of inventory. So as months of inventory go up, I've been telling you prices come down. Well, here's what's happening with prices. We were high 2.9, say, and now we're sitting at 2.1 as an average sold price. Here's East Toronto. 49 detached properties were sold. One of those was at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,159,000. You can see the decline in East Toronto. Well, average sold price is 15% lower than last year's average sold price. Again, this is for East Toronto now. And the median price of $1,100,000. It's been steady at $1,100,000 for a little while now. It's 13% lower than last year's median price. If we go back 3 months, median price was $1,287,000. It's now $1.1 million. That's for East Toronto. Months of inventory has stayed the same at 1.7 months of inventory, and average days on market for East Toronto is 19. East Toronto is basically East York and Scarborough, everything on that side. Let's take a look at a quick summary with all of them together. East Toronto usually has the highest volume, and for this week it's at 49. And the highest volume because average sold prices and median sold prices in East Toronto are overall average, the lowest of Toronto. So there's much more activity going on there. And you can see the months of inventory, we're sitting at 1.7 compared to the other two regions. Central's 5.8 and West is 4.5. So there's a lot more activity in East Toronto. Prices are a little bit more affordable in East Toronto. Let's take a close look at semis. 39 semis were sold. That's it, just 39 across all the city of Toronto. Average sold price did go up. It's now sitting at $1,189,000. Of the 39 that sold, 6 semis sold at $1.5 million or more. So $1,181,000 is 3% lower than last year's average sold price. The median price is just under $1 million at $999,000, and median price is 4% lower than last year's median price. Months of inventory did come down. It's one of the few home types where months of inventory actually came down. For the other ones, it's all gone up. But 1.7 is the new months of inventory for semis. Townhouses, 11 townhouses were sold. Average sold price is sitting at $950,000. $950,000 is 4% lower than last year's average sold price for townhouses. Median price is a little bit higher than the average sold price. Median price is $960,000, which is 7% lower than last year's median price. And months of inventory did go up. It's sitting at 2.6 months of inventory. Let's look at condos. 177 condos were sold. 17 were sold at $1 million or more. And the average sold price came down a little bit from the previous week. It's sitting at $742,000. 865, we'll say 8.5 somewhere has been kind of the peak, and we're now about $100,000 less at $742,000. Well, 742 is 5% higher than last year's average sold price, and the median price of $651,000 is 2% higher than last year's median price. Looking at year-to-date sales, we have 29% fewer sales this year from January 1st to August 17th. 29% fewer condo sales. Of the 177 that sold, less than a quarter, 22% sold at list price or more. Listings, 5% fewer listings year to date this year with condos. And months of inventory did go up a little bit. 3.7 is now the months of inventory for this week for condos. And you can see also months of inventory going up. Average sold price, not aggressively, but gradually coming down, which is very different from the detached market. The detached market, we're seeing more of a steep decline in average sold price. Here's a quick summary. Months of inventory are creeping up. Semis is the only one that really came down. East Toronto never changed, but you could see months of inventory climbing. Months of inventory, as long as they keep climbing, you're going to continue to see a decline in prices. But at some point, things will balance off. We don't know when that's going to happen. Now, I know a lot of people are looking at September. I'm kind of wondering what's happening in September. It's going to be really interesting. We're headed into some unpredictable seas right now when it comes to Toronto real estate. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Welcome to Unit 704 at 10 Parkway Forest Drive. This condo would be great for first-time buyers, investors, or people downsizing. It's almost 1,000 square feet with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 1 parking. And the location, by Don Mills and Shepherd, you could walk to shopping, Don Mills subway station, Fairview Mall, and you're close to the DVP, Highway 404 and Highway 401. Have a look at the rest of the unit.